morning, a warm welcome to Asia First on this Thursday, April the 25th. I'm Adam Bakhtiar.
And I'm Julie Yu. Over the next 3 hours, we'll bring you the top news across Asia, including politics and policies, economy and markets, and the world events that impact this region.
And I'm Avril Hong. I'll cover the business and economic developments that move Asia's financial markets. But first, your headlines.
The leaders of Russia and North Korea set to meet today in Vladivostok for their first ever summit. Peace on the Korean Peninsula and economic cooperation top the agenda.
I'm Julia Chapman in Vladivostok, and I'll be telling you what's at stake for Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as North Korea tries to widen its support base amid an impasse with the US over denuclearization.
All right, for more on this, we are joined by Julia Chapman in Vladivostok, and she joins us with the very latest. Julia, good morning. Today's event has been largely shrouded in secrecy. I mean, do we know at all what's going to happen and when the summit is going to take place?
That's right. There's been relatively scant details on the schedule today. But what we do know is that Kim Jong-un arrived yesterday here in Vladivostok, yesterday evening at the train station just down behind me. He was greeted by a marching band and a number of Vladivostok residents who were very excited to see him. And then he went off in his limousine with his traditional running bodyguards off to have dinner and do a little bit of sightseeing around Vladivostok yesterday evening. But today he's due to be meeting President Vladimir Putin, who will be flying in to Vladivostok this morning. We don't know exactly what time they're going to be meeting. It'll be sometime after lunchtime, local time here in Vladivostok, but those talks are going to be getting underway. We've also been hearing from some sources that are being quoted in Russian media that Kim Jong-un could be staying into tomorrow's to do some more sightseeing as he's come all this way by train.
Indeed, because Vladimir Putin himself, we of course heading for the Belt and Road Initiative Forum. In fact, after this summit, Julia, you know, Kim Jong-un said yesterday that he was hoping for concrete discussions on resolving issues on the Korean Peninsula. I just wonder how far is Russia prepared to go on that front when they, too, are unnerved by having a nuclear-armed neighbor and are really advocating that they should return to the six-party talks?
Well, exactly. That's the question. What really can Russia do? What can they offer North Korea in terms of incentives for denuclearization? That's going to be what Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un will be discussing today. There's some skepticism as to how effective Russia can be as a player in these denuclearization talks. But Russia is certainly trying to position itself as a major player on the world stage in important regions like the Korean Peninsula. And so that's what President Putin is going to be putting forward today. It'll be interesting to see what kind of suggestions, what kind of solutions he will be offering, and whether we'll be learning any details of those afterwards. We don't know whether there will be some sort of joint declaration or some sort of statement after the meeting today, but we'll find out a bit later on. But of course, Russia has been a bit more of a sympathetic ear for North Korea when it comes to the easing of sanctions. Russia has supported UN sanctions, but is not behind US more targeted sanctions. Of course, Russia is under US sanctions itself, and so is a bit more sympathetic in that region. Russia doesn't believe that there should be a hard line approach when it comes to North Korea because they don't think it's very effective. So it'll be interesting to issue are today. The two leaders will also be discussing bilateral relations, economic development between Russia and North Korea, namely the issue of North Korean laborers that number in their thousands here in Russia. Their remittances that they send home to North Korea are very important for the economy, which is very much hampered by sanctions. And Russia quite likes having North Korean workers here in Russia. So that is an issue they're going to be discussing as under UN sanctions, those workers are due to return home by the end of this year. So that's another one of the issues on the table for the two leaders today.
And Julia, we understand that the six-party talks have been stalled since 2008. And how realistic is this resumption of the multilateral dialogue on denuclearization?
Well, that's an interesting question, particularly in the context now of North Korea and the US being at an impasse over denuclearization. And that's part of the reason why Russia appears to be stepping in at this particular moment, trying to perhaps position itself when things are falling apart between the US and North Korea. But we've been hearing from Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, in the last couple of days. He's been saying that the six-party talks are the only effective solution for denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. But it's unclear how willing North Korea will be to resume that method of talking, of discussion between the countries, particularly, as I say, that since the U.S. has been struggling with North Korea after the failure of the Hanoi summit to reach an agreement between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un back in February. So as to whether six-party talks could be resumed, we may find out some more information today from this discussion between Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, but it's unclear how realistic that could be.
All right, Julia, thank you very much. Julia Chapman there reporting to us live from Vladivostok.